Tuesday from Analyst Desk. I am Jat with Emily, Marksy, and Biofrost. Great to have you back on the desk. Thank you for joining us after the game. I know it was a tough one, but how are you doing big picture?
Big picture, I'm doing pretty well. Obviously, we lost that game, so it doesn't feel great, but I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, we have a few little clips from the game. I was hoping that you'd actually be able to talk us through a little bit about, like, maybe early laning phase, because you went for a 2v2 early, and then after that, the lane ended up being very hard, but I think it's still really good for viewers to understand, like, how slim the margins can be in those 2v2s. So I believe we have that clip, and I just want you to kind of talk us through what good looks like in this clip and then, like, why it went wrong.
Okay, yeah.
If we have it.
We'll see if it comes up.
Otherwise, we're talking about the weekend as a whole. Let me tell you. It's coming. It's coming.
There it is.
Okay, so here, I'm playing for level 2, and we should be able to hit 2 first. So I end up hitting 2, and I'm gonna look for a W. I end up missing, so that's really bad, and they end up hitting 2. So immediately in my head, I'm like, oh no, this is bad. I'm on like full retreat. They end up killing me, and that's pretty bad. Let's say that Nautilus got the kill, it actually wouldn't be that bad because they would have no summoners, and honestly, it doesn't matter too much. But because Zeri got the kill, it's pretty bad. In this situation, we're looking for a numbered fight with our AD carry moving first. So we're saying, okay, any fight is good. We try to force a fight. We end up getting 1 kill, which is not the best, but it's something, right?
Still
we're definitely on a back foot.
Yeah, so I think I would reiterate, like, when you're calculating those 2v2 situations, how have you been communicating with Neo? Because I think one of the strengths of your team, actually, in your wins, has been when you have had a pushing lane, when you have been able to get that level 2. So just what's your 2v2 communication like?
So it depends on, like, what we draft for lane, obviously. I think Jinx gets pushed in almost every lane, aside from, like, maybe a couple, like Karma or, like, Caitlyn.
Yeah.
So Jinx is really good against Zeri because you generally get pushed throughout the whole lane. We end up messing up, and that kind of switches the dynamic of like, okay, Zeri's probably going to get pushed now, and we're just going to be 50-50, which is okay, but ideally we should be pushing them in. I would get first move to get mid vision, but now it's just even.
So when your game plan goes sour like that, like what goes on with the rest of the team?
Basically, you have to communicate, okay, guys, things did not work out as we envisioned it, and we have to adapt. That's really important as a pro because mistakes will happen in game, so the pros that are able to adapt are gonna do a lot better in a game. If you start shutting down and be like, okay, guys, like, it didn't work, so I guess we just go next, you're probably not gonna have good results, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of, shutting down and like in losing situations, you guys have a very tough strength of schedule ahead this weekend. You have to play literally the top 3 teams. How is your guys' mindset going into this weekend, knowing that you probably have to pick up a win to secure playoffs? And like, was this one of the matches where you're like, let's swing for the fences? If not, don't worry about it, guys. Or how are you guys now after the C9 game?
Yeah, I think we kind of ran into a snuffle last week because we had to win our games last week so that we were in a much better position this week. But because we lost, and then today we also lost, we're in a pretty tough spot now because it's most likely that Golden Guardians will take our spot in playoffs and we'll end up 7th if like we don't manage to get wins. So we have to probably get a 2-0 to make it. And with our strength of schedule, it's going to be pretty rough. But I mean, how I see it is if we don't end up winning these 2 games and we just go 0-3, but we make playoffs anyway, like we probably didn't deserve to be in playoffs anyway. We're going to get knocked out first round.
Sure.
So it's not that bad. Like we messed up, but here we are. We have to make do.
I have a meta question for you, and this is a little bit of a tangent. It's about Zeri. Okay. I know when you're showing up for the day, you might not be able to watch LCS. Did you see the TL Golden Guardians game?
Yes.
Okay, so I have the team comps here if you need a reminder. I am trying to figure out what comps Zeri is good with and what comps Zeri is good against. Because this one, it's like really strong frontline for TL, Ornn, Trundle, Nautilus, and then like a lot of range, almost seems like a front-to-back team fighting. Like, do you think Zeri's good against squishier teams and weak against frontline? Or like, where do you see her power level fitting in?
I think for Zeri, she excels when there's no threats for her. So a lot of people like picking Nautilus early because it's a point-and-click CC, right?
Yeah.
Also, Zeri does really poorly when she gets outranged. So Ashe does pretty well because you're kind of like throwing volleys from like Narnia, and Victor's as well because aside from like Orianna or like other champions, they kind of have to hit their like main skill shots, and their skill shots are a lot harder to hit on Zeri because she's like moving at a billion speed, right? But Victor laser, it's like generally pretty easy to hit. And honestly, it takes Zeri really long to ramp up in a fight with like double tank.
Right. So would you say Zeri would then be like trying to compare to other AD carries? Say like for a Jinx would be much better into double tanks than a Zeri, or is it the other way around? Mobility.
I think Zeri just has not as good tank shred,
Right.
but she gets. So it's kind of like a mixture where you need threats, otherwise she's just going to be hitting your tanks for like a minute, and then she just moves at like God speed. So it's not like the tanks, it's like the threats that are more important.
Yeah.
So if the tanks can land CC, someone needs to then kill her. But
Yeah.
Otherwise,
that follow up,
yeah.
she's like, whatever.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. I'm trying to get my feel for Zeri because I know what like a good Kai'Sa comp is, where CC and Kai'Sa can jump in. I know like front to back for Jinx and Aphelios, but Zeri, I'm still not quite there on yet. Thank you. I heard you're going to stick around for our game intro as well, which we're moving on to right now. Next matchup is CLG versus Immortals, and we've got some words from Contractz on what playoffs mean for his team. So we're going to take a listen.
I think making playoffs on CLG would be a great kind of resurgence for the org. Obviously, their past couple years haven't been great, but I think with this like kind of new kind of building roster, I think like making playoffs in its first split would be like a pretty happy spot for them to be and to build off into future splits.
Yeah, really interesting week for CLG. So I believe still no one is eliminated from playoffs, but when we look at CLG's strength of schedule, it's 33%. They got Immortals, TSM, Golden Guardians. So you guys have the hardest strength schedule. They have the easiest one. But take a look at this. So their last 4 splits have definitely not been that good. You spent a little bit of time on CLG, but it's crazy to me the fall of this org, because I remember you probably had like higher expectations back in the day when you were on CLG, and I think you guys finished like 7th and 7th.
Yeah.
Better than they've done the last 2 years, straight up.
The meme was we have a 7-Eleven sponsorship because we kept going 7-Eleven. And then actually the most recent split I was on CLG, we did end up making playoffs and we got 3rd in the regular season, so that was not bad. And then I left, and then I think they had like 10th.
9th, 10th, 9th, 10th.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Well, so it was insane that was like the best time was the last time Biofrost was on their roster.
Yes.
This
Nice job.
Yeah. Congratulations.
We didn't have his look on camera, but it was kind of like, of course.
Well, of course, you know.
No, it wasn't. Of course, it wasn't.
Biofrost was like, come on, guys.
No.
What's interesting to me is that they have an outside shot at playoffs. They have a very easy strength of schedule, but it is still probably dependent on some other things breaking their way from the teams above them. But I would argue, even if this roster doesn't make playoffs, they have a lot to play for in terms of trying to get 7th. Because as you saw, their record being 9-10, 9-10 the last 2 years, fans are happy to just break that trend right now. And this lineup has the opportunity to do that.
Look at this familiar face on camera, by the way. WildTurtle.
Yeah.
So the last game he played was the Super Week game against CLG, where he went 10 kills on Caitlyn, 10-0-4. And as a former teammate of WildTurtle Biofrost, what are you thinking about WildTurtle and his return here?
I mean, they're switching their AD carries like back and forth, and I think now their support is also different.
We have no Destiny this game as well.
Joey.
It's Joey.
Joey's in.
So they're bringing in their like full academy bottom line from the last 4 weeks or so.
That's pretty interesting to me. We'll see how they do. Turtle has been a player for a very long time. He's like one of the core veterans.
Yeah, he played in the first split of LCS.
Yeah, left in the LCS. So it's awesome to see him still playing. He's a very positive guy. I hope he pops off. Maybe he steals a dragon here and there.
Yeah, I believe we have some side-by-side stats of WildTurtle and Arrow in Spring Split so far. So, as you mentioned, they have had a lot of struggle with this AD carry position. It's definitely been a little bit perplexing for me from the outside, because they said they were going to be trying both out last Super Week. Turtle goes 10-0, and then Arrow does okay, and then we see nothing but Arrow until this moment. But Emily, I know you have some thoughts.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is I know the team came out and said like Arrow was a bit more vocal and they felt like they might have needed that. I wanted to ask Bio, like, what do you think Turtle brings to a team just as a player and a personality? You mentioned already like he's really good to have on a team because he's very bubbly and upbeat.
I mean, anytime you have a veteran player, right, you can look to them for direction. Which is funny because Arrow is also a veteran player, so I'm wondering what the difference is. And usually when people make decisions like this, it's based off of scrims.
Yeah.
So something must be going on in scrims where they wanted to try Arrow out. and maybe Turtle was like slumping, but now he's back, right? So it's his opportunity to shine. I think Turtle definitely brings a level of resilience and mindfulness to his gameplay. So I'd love to see that in this game where he like, even if Immortals is behind.
You want to pop off?
Yeah, let's go.
Well, so he's playing against Luger today, and Luger's one of the new AD carries in the league. What's your perception been of him? Because the people watching him are like, this guy's crazy. He's always trying to like hard carry games. Sometimes they int, sometimes they go too aggressive. What's been your perception with the extra scrim data you probably have?
Yeah, Luger is an interesting AD carry because he doesn't play as many conventional picks as other people. He likes to experiment with variety of picks. You've seen him play like Tristana. There's like
Cog.
Yep.
There's also like Kai'Sa. He was one of the first people to play it. So he likes to try these fringe picks, and he doesn't actually like the Jinx Aphelios as much. So that's kind of his strength as an AD carry.
Yeah.
And he's just consistent, right? You don't see him make many mistakes.
Do you have a prediction? Immortals CLG?
Uh,
We all picked CLG at the start of the day.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if you're going to mix it up.
I'm just gonna go with the flow.
That's not a prediction.
CLG.
Oh,
Four
okay.
CLG.
It's CLG.
Okay.
Yeah. Take it away, casters.
Biofrost definitely has go with the flow vibe, so that doesn't surprise me.
Most certainly. Biofrost is a chill dude, as they say. Let's get into Immortals versus CLG. I am especially excited because Immortals, in the video that they released on the Switch, they cited, yes, the improvements of WildTurtle and Joey as a duo, but also champion differences. So I want to see if there are actual champion-specific differences here, because sometimes, you know, the stuff in the videos is for you know, to add some fluff and you know, just present some reasons to the fans. But I'm hoping that there are going to be some interesting, you know, champion differences in picks here, because as Bao was talking about with Luger as well, the champion pool could get interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at those players a bit more, I know a lot of people are familiar with WildTurtle, but Joey has been a mainstay of Academy for quite some time. Even back when playing with Keith was kind of the barometer, the bar at which people would try to pass.
And that might be one right there. The Renata Glass target ban at Joey from CLG. Interesting stuff here already. So they are ready for it. They're ready for the swap of the duo and bottom lane in. Immortals picked up the Zeri first pick, though. No hesitation. Turtle's back in, and he gets Zeri first game.
Same exact bot lane matchup that we will see between Zeri and Jinx on the other side. This time, though, it's the Nautilus being grabbed up by CLG for some of that engage. Also, one of the picks that Joey prizes really loves going for engaged champions in general.
Yeah, honestly, Nautilus, best engaged in the game. That's why so often first picked. It's the point and click of the ultimate. That's why it's so good versus Zeri. You know, yes, Leona can have similar effects if you hit your ultimate. There's no if with Nautilus. Yeah. You either are in range and you hit it, or you are not in range. Also quite good against stuff like Viego here, though, which is getting picked up as well. Melee carries can be greatly hindered by champions that have so much CC there. So we'll see how well Poome can peel for the team, but also try and get that ultimate targeted back onto Zeri. And PoE gets his Ahri again. He has had a long-term love affair with this champion over the course of his career. I want to see if they can really get some aggressive looks early on, because it too can actually pair quite well with Viego for a mid-jungle 2v2. And if you get that early advantage on Ahri, you get an early kill in the skirmish, then an Ahri roaming can really help out the side lanes.
And looking to some of the strengths of Immortals in just recent games when facing off against TSM, even though things went a bit haywire in the end, that proactivity early, PowerOfEvil getting multiple kills on himself on the Cassiopeia led to such early game advantages, and he's probably looking to do something of a similar fashion on the Ahri.
Swear to God, if he builds a stone play on Ahri, I'm gonna lose it. We will wait to see what twists and turns go on in the PoE build pass. It's one of the side bonuses of all Immortals games, but we'll go on here to look at the support bans from CLG, because no support lock-in here from Immortals in favor of grabbing that Ahri for PowerOfEvil. The price that you are going to pay, of course, is more bans thrown at Joey. And remember, he already got the target Renata Glass ban, so they followed up with the defensive Braum, but as well the Leona option that we kind of touched on.
They want to remove his ability to start these team fights. A lot of members of CLG with a lot of experience playing against Joey because of being recent graduates from Academy and here onto the LCS stage. And with the final lock-ins for CLG and those supports taken away, Immortals rounding it out with a Kennen ban. They don't want that pick for Jenkins.
Exactly. It's always worth it. I will never contest the Kennen ban versus Bobby J. It's always worth one, especially with the state that Kennen is right now. Always powerful. So CLG will probably save counter pick for him, though, for topside. I would expect them to early pick for Palafox. But if they actually just wanted to have Jenkins play weak side as usual, then they could get him something that he's comfortable on. Not going to be the case this time around. Vex into Ahri is one of the two major counter pick scenarios in which I love this champion. The other one, being LeBlanc, is more prominent, but Vex is one of the most common counter picks into Ahri, and Palafox, I know, has put a lot of time specifically into this champion because he helped me pick up Vex when I was looking for an autofill mid laner when I get that role, and he had some good tips, so very excited to see what he can do on it. It's a very high make or break champion. Even though it's very easy to pick up initially, the peaks of the champion where you get the montage plays of resetting with the ultimate are very difficult to pull off. You always will have this engage threat later on into the game, but hitting that ultimate from fairly far off screen is quite difficult, and it's pretty rare, and you see the very best Vexes can make very good use of the reset on the ultimate, the timings on their fear to interrupt, as well. And we're going to channel right on through. We do get the counter pick here for Mr. Jenkins, and into the what has become more common Aatrox after the buffs to the sweet spot damage. Blind pick there from Revenge. We do get the Camille, so maybe we will get more attention from Contractz up towards the top side, because Camille works quite well with Lee Sin. If I don't say so myself, on the engages there, you can always threaten some of these picks. And if you do get a lead for the Camille, the side lane pressure into roams become very difficult. Camille can traverse terrain so easily in looking for, mid lane ganks as well from top side, or in pressuring enemy jungle, that it is always a big concern if the Camille gets an early lead.
Different looks. We'll see if they can put one in the books.
This is the sort of pride that gets you in those big moments, allows you to take down giants.
Now, in terms of the stakes that we're serving up on the plate of this game, Immortals 7-game loss streak for them at this point in time. And if they get one more right now, they are officially eliminated from playoffs. Talk about pressure.
Yeah, and the stakes are, I would say, probably even more high on the side of CLG. Because while this is an official elimination match for Immortals out of playoffs if they lose it, for CLG, their shot at getting into playoffs hinges already on some losses from, Dignitas or Golden Guardians dropping down a little bit, and CLG winning at least 2 of their super weak games. If they start here with a win, it gives so much power and hope behind it. This has got a little bit dangerous, though, as they face check this brush.
Going on into it. Poome getting locked down, just too squishy here in the early moments. So CLG are the ones to step into Immortals jungle, and they pay the price with first blood.
And you can even know the reasoning behind it, though. When you see multiple members, 2 revealed on top side, you think, okay, our opportunity is now to invade on the opposite side of the map. And they go with 3 members, but there's still 3 from Immortals waiting in this brush. And with brush advantage for level 1s, it is oftentimes one of the biggest determining factors, unless you have like Braum or Olaf on one of the teams that have crazy level 1s. The face check gets you too far behind early in level 1s, where there are very few variables because every champion only has 1 skill so far, that Immortals get that kill. They get the punish here on the attempt from CLG, and I don't know if we need to watch this again, but Rocket flipped the switch replay here. We are going to get another look at it. It's just face check into Ignite, and he knows he's dead, so he doesn't flash at all. But very easy pickup there for Immortals.
I mean, both of these teams have played aggressively to try and get that first blood in the past. So in this case, Immortals came out on top. Xerxe getting the kill credit means he's going into the jungle with a little more firepower under his belt, and a good start for them right off the bat here to take on CLG.
All right. Off of that money as well, it was in time to recall. This is the other determining factor in how big is a level 1 really gonna sway the game. But when jungle gets the recall and buy a longsword like that, it's actually massive. For a champion like Viego that already has quite good clear, the extra AD off of a longsword for Xerxe is gonna be a very fast early clear. Just look at already. He has 4 camps down. And even though Contractz is going for super quick gank, he had to move across the map, and he's just getting to 2. He barely has enough time to try and catch Xerxe at red.
You're directly on his tail. Red, officially acquired by Xerxe, ends up taking it.
And this is astronomically in favor of Immortals. Because of that longsword extra damage, he is literally finishing a full clear, and Contractz only has 3 camps. That is such a massive difference from the level 1 first blood that Immortals were afforded. He got to clear so much faster that Contractz could get there for the red buff, but Xerxe wins the smite fight over it. He's literally level 4, has already full cleared, can just push up off his pushing bottom lane, get double crab here on Contractz, even chase him out of his own jungle. And it's definitely a rough start here for CLG. Even though it's not explosive, it is so annoying as a jungler to have to kind of dig yourself out of experience disadvantages like that, and it's not even really up to him. The smite fight is a fair 50-50. They went for it, and Xerxe won it. So Xerxe already setting himself up for some big moves here on the Viego. Double scuttle crab after the full clear, and the beneficiary of the first blood.
Quite contention here on the top side as well, which is drawing the eyes of Xerxe, and Contractz is nearby clearing out so he can catch up as much as possible. But it's called out. The ward was down in the riverside.
Ooh,
nice lockdown from Joey though to bring Poome right back into it. Got a little haymaker for some additional damage here, so I'm gonna back off that one.
So the timings on there are pretty cool, because for any champion trying to affect another champion that's already initiated a move block in which Nautilus has multiple ones that are hard to track, once the hook is into the wall and once Nautilus's actual character model starts to move, that's when you can hit him with knockbacks or pullbacks, in this case from the Sett. And if you do it early as the hook is going and then latches into the wall, then you can do that buffer for Nautilus. But Joey waits until Nautilus starts moving, then pulls him right back for the little trade there. So good job from him.
Now pulling him right back in immediately after that hook again. He's got familiarity with it. WildTurtle, though, pushing himself between the low Joey and the rest of the CLG squad. So everyone living at this point. Some summoners used, though, the Ignite on both sides.
Smart from Luger here. He's threatening the reset on Jinx passive to Joey so that they get a summoner spell advantage there, forcing the flash out of the Sett. Yes, Sett still taking Hextech Flash isn't going to be as hurt by that trade as many other champions. You can still Hex Flash out of Brush, but it does mean he doesn't have the defensive options open to him later on. And CLG happy to get the summoner spell advantage down there. Let's see if they can make anything of this play. Both junglers looking for the counter play at the moment.
Early movement over towards this Drake side. I mean, Joey is fairly low and somewhat wary of it because they're not entirely sure where Contractz is at this moment as well. Oh, blast going over the wall. Sweeper coming through, but they're just going to go ahead and set up.
Yep, watching over the river right there, so they won't get any kills, but they will be able to punish the kind of delayed recalls there from the bottom lane, and CLG will rack up Dragon number 1. I think this is going to do a lot for them, actually, to be able to get this experience and kill gold off of the Dragon into Contract's hands, and then have him continue on with his clear through Wolves. Should be nice for CLG. It catches them up to that level 5. Second Scuttle Crab spawn is actually way more important than the first ones, because you still get full experience on every consecutive spawn after the first ones. and this is a pretty good little rubber band for them. It does mean that you give up top side control though, and we'll track this Immortals move into second red spawn. I think that thing is basically gone. CLG trying to defend it though, and they do have level 6 Camille ultimate, but they're going in a little blind.
Joey on the roam over here towards top, and no one moving any more forward into that jungle position. So as you mentioned, that Drake should do a decent amount for CLG to even the odds here, because that farm that was previously acquired by Xerxe, that kill as well, you want to mitigate that as much as possible.
And this is really big, that defense right there. Sometimes, you know, the kills that don't happen are honestly almost as big as the ones that do, because CLG is able to defend their red side there. That means Contractz can get level 6. He would not have been able to match Xerxe level 6 if they didn't defend his full red side, because he was about half an experience bar behind Xerxe. So Xerxe could for sure get it off his blue quadrant, but Contractz gets his full red and Krugs, gets his level 6. He can reverse clear back down to bottom side and is basically again even footing, even though behind on camp clear, because he got the dragon as well with Xerxe. So definitely capable of fighting, especially since he was able to at least get his whip completed. Let's see about any sort of action around Rift Herald though. He just goes to put an early ward on this, so that may signal CLG and Contractz wants to play bottom side play here. They did put the ward early onto Rift Herald and started up here by revenge. After the mid pull too, Palafox has no mana to help out with his defense.
And there's a ult available from Jinx down from bot as well. A rotation happening from the CLG side. But Joy's coming through too. Charm and stun and lock on down. Jenkins eliminated at the hand of Xerxe, and now they can hit themselves right back onto the objective. The Rift Herald being marked down lower and lower below 2,000. The Charm and the pull on through, but Contractz and Palafox, they're sticking on into it. Joey trying to rotate over from the river direction. Poome goes for it. The follow-up here from Contractz. This affords a kill in favor of CLG on the back end.
And even though CLG get that kill though, I still say this whole series of plays is a big win for Immortals, because WildTurtle stayed bottom and pushes the entire time on bottom wave. He gets a full wave of experience. He denies it into the tower. Cannon dies. He gets a turret play out of it. And Immortals also got the Rift Herald. So CLG salvaged one kill off the bottom lane rotation up to answer this. But because of the pincer movement they made onto Jenkins here, PoE with a beautiful flash over the side. He doesn't even go for the blast cone because he wants to immediately go for the play. Doesn't want to miss that window on Jenkins. And he knows that if he flashes with the charm, then Jenkins can't react. And that speed that they got the kill is huge, because it gives PoE a reset charge on the ultimate and allows them to finish off this Rift Herald. Even though now you see Luger and Poome both coming up, they invest a flash to kill off the enemy support. Okay, you got a little bit of gold back, but it's not nearly what Immortals got off of it. With Zeri getting money, WildTurtle, even though he has no kills, is feeling quite confident. Plus, they still have the Rift Herald in hand to use.
In the first 10 minutes, Immortals feeling in good form and on the same page with the plays that they want to make across the map. And WildTurtle, you're mentioning, guess he doesn't have any kills, but I am very much looking forward to what he and Joey do. Even in some of the interviews during their play in Academy, Joey seems very keen on the synergy that they have been building up as a bot lane and bringing that to the rest of the team. So in the later stages of the game, you can have people on the same page might be a true advantage for them.
Yeah, let's see it. Joey still yet to get level 6 here for Sett to try and get access to some of these big plays that we see from the counter pick here. Now he finally does get it, so they have options on bottom side, and you see immediately the brush given up by Poome. They don't want to fall victim to the roam from mid-jungle. Sett can easily set that one up. Joey does have access to his real flash right now, so you have plenty of options in setting up for this dragon for Immortals. And they go off of that bottom lane push into deep vision and a mid play.
Oh, the blast down, the charm, it's all there for Immortals onto Palafox. Contractz flashes away, so he won't be eliminated as well, but this means plates into IMT.
Yeah, that right there is exactly where I highlight the Ahri plus Viego offensive burst of this mid jungle, because even if you are there for a counterplay, It's all upfront burst here with this combo because PoE goes in and you can stun lock them, charm plus your stun from Viego and the execution damage from the ultimate from Xerxe. They immediately kill Palafox. Even with Vex being able to get off Fear there, he just was annihilated. No time to flash either. So Immortals, again, it's these quick picks that make the difference. PoE flashes over, doesn't use the Blast Cone in the Rift Herald play, they instantly delete one of the CLG members, even though the numbers would have been in their advantage. And yet this time around too, even though it's a 2v2, they immediately delete a CLG member for their own advantage.
Well, the condition, though, that CLG, when they are on the back foot that they've been going for, try and get Luger in a position where he can scale into the later portions of the game. They have maintained a bit of dragon control, stacking that up for their second. And it's another Hex Tech Rift that we are facing now with minutes to go on that. But I am looking so much at this mid-jungle duo, Xerxe and PowerOfEvil working together so effectively, and Xerxe really getting an opportunity to pop through. Reg line onto the wall, a nice little tumble on over from WildTurtle. That mobility that Zeri loves to offer in those instances.
Yep, if you don't hit that hook, and it's kind of difficult because Turtle has good positioning there. He knows even if they're in this brush, I've got a wall at my back. That's what you always want for Zeri. And even if Poome gets the distance from flashing out of the brush there, there's still plenty of reaction time for Turtle to react to the hook. So that hook probably has a very low chance of hitting regardless of surprise factor or flashing out of the bush. But also Turtle, if you remember back to the old days, he has been able to react and flash things like Malphite point blank ultimates out of Fog of War. So he has always had very good reactions when opponents are trying to surprise him and things like that. So very nicely done from him. Nice to see him back in the LCS, and he has yet to die, but also yet to create a lot of action down there. And as you stated, Luger is kind of the hope for CLG's comeback.
All these charms through the walls have been great from PowerOfEvil, just recognizing the opportunity when it's there. And yes, it doesn't net anything necessarily in this moment, but it does put the pressure onto the opposite jungle mid duo, because Xerxe and PowerOfEvil wanting to apply that as much as possible, leaving the top lane up here to be at their own willy-nilly all the way.
Definitely more difficult too for CLG to answer bottom lane plays with the damage that was done to mid tower. Immortals opening up the roams are so dangerous for CLG now to try and traverse, because look at Palafox right now. He can't enter their own side of the jungle, so he has to go all the way around from mid lane, catching a wave to a super delayed defense if there is any move from Immortals, and it makes setting up for the next dragon that much more difficult.
And still got some time to do so. Jenkins brought down pretty low using those adaptive defenses to keep him alive, and will have to back off of that one with the wave pushing in for Revenge. He's been able to get a decent chunk into this top tower.
Yeah, Revenge has been pressuring this matchup pretty heavily here. Uses his flash and almost gets that kill. So close. Not quite enough damage to squeeze it out, but Jenkins very happy to live through that one, because now you get Summoner Spell advantage for the dragon that will come. Dragon number 3 will be pivotal. CLG, their only thing that they have to try and make their big comeback swing is the dragon stacking. Immortals have been able to get a 3.2k gold lead in trade for all these dragons that CLG have picked up after the proactive plays from Immortals, in hopes that from Immortals' perspective, they can just have the extra advantage leading up to this dragon and stop the combo here from CLG. But if CLG can push it through with an early setup, they've got a nice route here to still come back through the mid game.
And they're taking the Rift Herald right now, and when you're talking about ways to set up for that dragon, sometimes even having that to throw down one of these lanes so you don't have that pressure coming from both sides, could be an opportunity for them to break open this Rift a little more, because a lot of the vision advantage has been in favor of IMT until this moment when CLG are moving as a unit to acquire it.
And everything is going to hinge on that setup. So right now, Xerxe, Immortals, focusing on bottom side, and CLG kind of giving up their bottom side to go for this top play onto Revenge.
Revenge hooked on through, knocked up. The CC going to be continued and good. Poome tanking the shots like you should. So So they do manage to get that kill, but on the opposite side, IMT see the opportunity. Xerxe and PowerOfEvil working in tandem once more, punishing Jenkins.
Yeah, I think Jenkins just got a little too curious there. With the commitment of 3 members topside for CLG a minute ahead of this dragon, CLG should completely give up their blue quadrant, their jungle. Yeah, it hurts because it makes it difficult for you to lead up to the dragon and get through your own territory, but you have to do it if you're committing to a topside dive like that. So kill acquired for CLG, but then kill also just given right back on the opposite side of the map. And Immortals are happy because they got to leave behind wards leading up to the dragon. So it actually looks quite good for Immortals on the next dragon. CLG, they're just going for the top kill instead.
Only 20 seconds till that time. WildTurtle flashing away, and that's a very speedy Zeri sidestepping the super mega death rocket as well.
Oh,
The Contractz wants to go for the hit. Palafox from way downtown taking down the turtle.
It is going to be 4 members topside for CLG, but you can see them immediately going for the dragon. Dragon number 3, Soul Point is up. Viego leashing it already. Contractz trying to go through mid, and it's going to be into Fog of War. Immortals set up first.
Revenge is already down here as well, stunning up onto Jenkins, but he has Contractz directly behind him as well. Poome, but PowerOfEvil going over the wall with the Spirit Rush he has at his disposal. Palafox is here too. You have to be careful from that. Poome from the opposite side. Contractz bursted so low, he has to be taken out of it. Hextech ultimatum thrown down onto 1. Xerxe is no longer. There's 2 taken down for Immortals. The pop-up from Luger with the multiple kills, and CLG, they win the fight, and they get the Soul Point off the back of that.
It's so huge for CLG. They get the pick on the top side of the map, and they are able to evade the trap from Immortals leading up to this dragon. They gave up the control of the setup on dragon in favor of picking off the kill first, and they were successful in both the kill and the retake of dragon. This is huge for CLG. Massive comeback swing for them.
Didn't even have to use the Rift Herald before that to set it up, so they can now throw Dead down mid to get a single charge. Can't finish it off, but starting to see some of the advantages that they can use pressing into the 20-minute mark soon. You gotta be feeling a bit better for CLG's side.
You certainly do. They chopped this gold lead down from 3.8k to 2k, and were able to get their Dragon Soul Point. Critical kills for CLG, but also the evasion there inside the jungle, being able to disengage long enough for the reset from Palafox to come through, and then CLG were able to use their numbers advantage because they got the pick leading up to the fight. Now it's about what can Immortals get back. This tower literally only needs 1 more hit, so that thing is gonna go down at some point. PoE can just walk up, acquire the gold, and it's just gonna be a little bit of a delay on the recalls.
Yeah, get a chance to reset off of that one. So while CLG has been winning out in the Dragons now on Soul Point, Immortals have been targeting the towers, taking down a lot of the outer rim, and taking a look at that Rockcat flip the switch replay of what allowed them this advantage top.
And I kind of like, you know, investing so much to the top side when everybody's eyes and everybody's minds are on the dragon. They know that they're going to have time if they pull the play off quickly to transition. And we mentioned in Champ Select, you know, the power of Vex if you have that pinpoint accuracy with your ultimate, and the difficulty of hitting those super long range ones there. Very nicely aimed from Palafox because Zeri has to either just take it or dodge right back. And after that pick, he even gets back out to the play with the Hextech gate you saw there in time. And so then flash out from Contractz, he avoids death. Then flash over here, and Jenkins almost evades death except for the follow flash from Joey on Sett to flash his W damage over and get the 1 kill for Immortals. Regardless of that 1 kill though, huge winnings for CLG to fight right back into it, and now it's exciting. Immortals wielding the 3,000 gold lead, but CLG, the looming threat of the Dragon Soul coming up, and Hextech Dragon is the highest win rate Dragon Soul in the game for solo queue. Huge impacts here because the utility of the Dragon Soul with that charged auto attack slow, as well as the stats you get from it being incredibly useful.
And so many of the teams that are building these compositions for the team fighting later, you really feel the effect when you're going into that action. Love to see that play from Palafox. Feels pretty good when the man that's teaching you the tips is performing well on the pick, huh?
Yeah, it really is about, especially when you get to the higher degrees, it's about ult usage. That's the biggest kind of variation in the champion, of course, because it's so long range. And if your opponents have no vision of you, To the opponents, it feels really unfair because you get hit with a Vex ultimate from off screen, literally. If the Vex is doing it well and firing in Fog of War and gets those surprise initiations, they can snowball some team fights. That one up on top side was just a very high value pick, but those can even be bigger. If you get one of those leading up to other champions on the opponent team, then it can snowball very effectively too. So it's a lot about paying attention to the Fog of War and knowing what your opponents can see so that you can get the big combos down.
Whether it's a single pick like in that case, or in a lot of scenarios where you see the pop-offs from the resets, can be a very effective way of turning the fight, that's for sure. And CLG making sure to keep their heads in it. Immortals, though, have been clinging to the gold lead. A lot of that was acquired in the way early stages of this game, but eventually things can even out if they're not too careful about it.
All right, we are approaching the exciting time here. 22 minutes into the game, 43 seconds left on this dragon spawn, and full vision control of CLG. This time around, they get to make Immortals face check.
Which is why Joey's standing right behind the rest of his team, or in front of them rather. Palafox is on the opposite side here too. If you can get the lockdown, trying to go for the Haymaker, it's not enough. Joey is out, and Immortals become so much more vulnerable because of it though. A good stun onto Contractz means he's pushed away and killed on the way save. Hextech Ultimatum uses onto PowerOfEvil, but then he has the Spear Rush to get out of it. All the way up top though, Revenge, he's going for the flank. One kill down onto Jenkins. WildTurtle gets one. Palafox, you are under the eyes of WildTurtle and the lasers that zip right into your face. Ace here for CLG, not so much. It's Immortals coming out on top.
Oh my God, CLG had such a good setup. They got the pick onto Joey, but the rebuttal from Immortals was better, and the rewards are everything on the map. Are you kidding me? Fighting out of the 4 versus 5, basically, since Joey got bursted down. The burst damage here, and Xerxe chasing over the back with the reset on the Viego gets to open up so much room for WildTurtle to punish CLG. Contractz can't get there for the steal. So Immortals, they get a full ace worth of gold, they get a Baron, and they got the denial on the Dragon Soul. As big as the previous teamfight was for CLG, this was twice as big for Immortals. Absolutely massive for Immortals. And look, it starts out so well for CLG. Palafox, intelligent, over the side of the wall here. They fully CC the Sett and burst him down. And then they're like, oh my God, we've got the numbers advantage, we can pick him. But PoE, waiting around the side, got the charm, and then they burst down Contractz. Even though he dashes over the side so close there with the W, Xerxe gets the kill, he gets the reset, and they're kiting around. Jenkins can't get the kill onto PoE. WildTurtle is free-firing the whole time, so then out of that reset, Xerxe comes back over the wall. They get the execute on both of them, and WildTurtle can chase down the extra kills. So massive there from Immortals. My goodness, it was both Xerxe getting his resets, but also the kiting from PoE and WildTurtle in the back line. Even with the early numbers advantage, CLG can't chase down the extra kills. A little bit hyphy there off of what they thought could be the game, basically, because it was right in front of them. They get the pick onto Joey. If they wait for the reset there and just kind of use their numbers to push in, they have pre-existing vision. They're thinking, oh my God, we get soul off this. We really are going to make this comeback real, but Immortals, massive punish. And now it looks like, if you look at the game now, you're like, what, was there even a point where CLG had this looming threat? Because it's a 7.3k gold lead and a full 3 minutes for the next Dragon Soul fight.
Still a heavy chance for them to push some of these lanes with the Baron buff that they had picked up right off of that fight. The mobility of the champs that PowerOfEvil and WildTurtle are rocking are really paying off for sure.
6 kills onto Xerxe with this Viego. This man is massive. Stopwatch in inventory, Death Dance, plus the Divine Thunderer. Okay.
Close. PowerOfEvil tried to go for it.
Power of Palafox!
Palafox, he stands out. Even using a Knight there, finish off, picks up the kill. Wants to create some advantages for CLG side against this push.
He's not letting this comeback die. Okay. They are almost 8,000 gold behind. However, they still have the possibility of cashing in on the Dragon Soul. Even with that though, most Dragon Souls are estimated around 5,000 gold value worth of combat effectiveness. And so even if they get it, it's still going to be an uphill battle, you know, versus the lead that Immortals have accrued. And just look at the differences in the item slots here. Fully filled up there with Immortals because they have so much extra gold. So CLG still have a long way to go in climbing back into this one. Immortals have a lot at their disposal. Revenge can keep split pushing here on the bottom side. It is starting to catch up there for Jenkins, but looking at another item completion before he's really a big threat. Does have a stopwatch for next time he tries to dive on backline. We did also see, though, how difficult it was for him to threaten the Ahri Zeri and wasn't able to really change the outcome of that team fight, not bursting anyone down. So we'll see as the solo lanes start to approach their level 16s, we'll have a lot bigger effect.
4 stopwatches, though, for Immortals that weren't all there the last time that they got into the fight. So you got to imagine they're going to be able to buy some time in those instances with that as well. And CLG a bit on some cleanup duty in the lanes at this point in time, with PowerOfEvil sent over top to continue to push this in. But Immortals, they've dropped down a lot of controls around that dragon area, right across that riverside. 45 seconds on the clock before that comes through.
Yeah, CLG are so far behind in items right now that even though you would love to, get Dragon Soul, you might have to give it up and hope for some more gold in the next 5 minutes leading up to the next Dragon Soul fight to be able to fight it. But we'll see. Maybe they will be able to fight this one out. There are 3 items on Luger, and they do have the possibilities of making really big engages with the Vex combo here. So we'll see. Nice vision advantage for Immortals leading up to this one, though. I think this one should be in the bag for them. CLG right now are kind of committing Jenkins to the top side, and they could trade this dragon in the next 5 minutes for your objective bounty on the top side turret and just say, hey, we need gold to be able to even think of fighting towards a dragon fight in a 5-on-5. And I think that is going to be the call here. So they will get paid for their time, but it is going to still be Immortals with a lot of map pressure here for the next 5 minutes leading up to the next Dragon Soul fight.
Trying to close up that gold lead just a tad for CLG, and Xerxe did pick up that second Drake, so a delay on that soul as anticipated. CLG making sure to show that control in the face of the itemization that Immortals have accrued thus far. Also, all ultimates available, all the summoners available now that Ignite from Palafox has come up, so it should be a scrappy one the next time anybody tries to contest.
Yep, Immortals feeling pretty good now. All right. 2 potential Dragon Souls denied by them, and they should be able to push out both sides first before transitioning their vision efforts over to Baron, in which case you get to look for picks. They have a lot of opportunities to push out on side and then look for picks around Baron. Let's see if PoE on this Ahri will be able to find anyone. He's been very, very effective thus far in this game in getting quick kills for their team.
Joey also into the enemy jungle here around this Baron setup. It has officially spawned, and Immortals have been setting up for this as much as they can, and CLG, they don't want to give it up too much. Jenkins and Revenge on that bottom side do have Unleashed Teleport available to them, and there are wards from both teams that can bring them into the fight if necessary.
Yeah, one of the biggest worries for CLG and why the gold is so important is that when you're fighting something like a Viego, especially a Viego that's fed, it's important for your team to have options for combo breakers, with stopwatches or guardian angels, items of the like that are going to deny Viego those resets. And since Xerxe has 6 skills to his name, they kind of need to farm up more stopwatches. Like if Contractz could get one, especially too if Palafox could get one, because he wants to be a big initiator right into the middle there with Vex. If they could get those 2 stopwatches, then it would really help out their possibilities of fighting a team fight. And they're just so far behind in fighting capability that once he gets his death cap, then you still have to farm up the entire gold for stopwatch as well. And so they're looking to just buy time here around Baron, just try and defend and keep enough vision so that Immortals are not sneaking it. If you see Ahri, that's a good sign, because PoE is one of the scariest ones trying to look for picks.
Up and right here, bring them on in with Face and Poome getting knocked down, throws out the Riptide, a good old chunk. Joey flashing away, Super Mega Death Rocket lands onto Xerxe, but talking about that stopwatch, one of them utilized now by the support that has now been eliminated by CLG. Will they continue to chase on down? But Jenkins, he has another target directly onto Revenge, separates him with the Hextech Ultimatum, Guardian Angel to bring him back to it, and a very heavy chunk down if you're looking over towards Immortals with Viego. They take down the top laner and the support for CLG, and effectively get Xerxe out of the fight. So they're on the Baron right now, baby.
No way, this game. Oh my God, another comeback for CLG. Over 7,000 gold behind before they pick up these kills, and they find the picks in the jungle. It's just a face check. Joey walks into them. Can they get out of this Baron though? Let's wait to see if Immortals can claim anything. PoE sniffing around. He's got flash and ult on Ahri, and they can't get anything. CLG protect their own as a pack of 5. Strength in numbers. They get out. They get the Baron. They get the kills inside red. This is insane. All right. It is a face check, and they trade so much damage on supports, but it's so much in favor of CLG. And look at Luger. So he's got red buff on the Jinx. He is free firing on the enemy support. So even though Poome was the one who face checked and got chunked, it is free firing Jinx here. He gets the full combo, and Contractz jukes him. Ward hops, doesn't complete his Q, back towards Luger, so that Luger is actually the one to pick up the last hit. And then Palafox, he forces another flash out of Turtle on the top side of the map while you see everybody else grouping up around that fed Viego. Yeah, great. I mean, Aatrox, and great, you have a Guardian Angel, but it is so much value there for CLG. They pop the GA, they get the kill on Revenge as well and all the gold, and we are swinging right back towards CLG here because we are in for another Dragon Soul Rumble.
Yeah, that 7 or 8K, however big that gold lead that Immortals had, it's starting to come and close down a little bit into the later stages of this game. The Baron buff here in effect.
Eyes on Luger for CLG. He has Flash, he has Cleanse, he is level 16, and he got his Infinity Edge off of those kills. Incredibly important that he got those last hits. When Contractz didn't connect his second Q and he ward hopped back towards Luger, getting that gold into Jinx means Jinx now has Infinity Edge. This is 4-item power spike. If Immortals can't get on him, then they aren't going to be able to win this fight. Can they do it though?
We've seen him do it before. We'll see if he can do it again. Jenkins, which was very visually seen by Immortals, but taking the Hextech Gate so he can try and position onto the opposite side of Immortals if need be. Dragon has officially been started up. Revenge wanting to just keep neck and neck with the enemy top laner here in Jenkins. But who's going to take it down? Going over the wall with the blast cone. Revenge is here. Boom, gets charmed in, and in the end, it's Xerxe that takes the dragon itself. But the fight will continue. Next, way into the backline. PowerOfEvil brought into the light by Palafox here, and Xerxe using Heartbreaker here for an escape. Now has to come right back from the depths of hell just to maybe be eliminated again with WildTurtle taken down. Everybody taken down. CLG with the Bud Light Ace.
It's CLG handing out the Bud Light Aces to other teams now, and Luger's gonna lead the charge. CLG with their first victory of Super Week. Are you kidding me? They're gonna ride straight down mid lane.
Smashing on down, making a statement, feeling the pressure of the entirety of this season and turning it into fuel. Joey's back up and puts a showstopper into the back line just to make sure he's putting every best effort. But it's CLG taking the win and eliminating Immortals from playoffs.
The first necessary step on their road to playoffs for CLG. While on one hand, they eliminate Immortals' hopes for qualifying for playoffs, CLG, they know they've got to rack up every single win here in Super Week. Their destiny is looking pretty good with that one. PalaFaker with some Vex snipes there towards the end as well, hitting PoE on the edge as he's Ahri ulting away for the chases. Great stuff there for CLG. Despite the very detrimental mid-game team fight, they come right back, they win the next one on Dragon Soul and run it straight in for the Nexus.
Palafox smiling all the way back to his seat for good reason. The way that they all kept their head on their shoulders in that team fight later on is what led to the ultimate victory. But Immortals on the other side, another game where they had the strong start, but it wasn't able to turn into a W.
That was fun. I mean, that was back and forth. Definitely a fun one. Immortals with some early leads, really nicely acquiring a big gold lead, just trading out some of the early dragons, not worrying about it too much because they thought they could win the critical one. And then CLG coming back to get soul point, multiple soul points. They intelligently give up number 2. They don't leave themselves out to dry. They wait for their moment. And then the big punish, retaking red side and turning that one into Baron, allowing them to retake the map. Massive comeback there from CLG, against the Immortals here in a critical game that could be the difference in them qualifying for playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that's the benefit of that early prioritization of Drake. When other things are going wrong, it's okay. This is a condition, buys them time in the mid game, and now they'll be able to look at this game and think, all right, what were we doing right? What was going well for us? Because we got 2 more games in Super Week that we're looking to try and crush.
We are. I like the variations coming out here from CLG. I like the Vex from Palafox. His ults were extremely accurate here, chasing down multiple people, big combos. He got the better of PoE in the side lane, also in some of these team fights. Honestly, excited here for the rest of playoffs.
Wow, and with that CLG victory, they do eliminate Immortals from playoffs and keep their own postseason dreams alive, and for all the CLG fans as well. But for more on how CLG are feeling, we are joining Pastrytime alongside Palafox for our Verizon postgame interview.
Thank you very much. I'm here on stage with FLICKR. Is that how that's pronounced?
Yeah, something like that.
So quite a wild game. I'm curious because you don't get to see like where the gold is in game. You just kind of have to use your intuition. Yeah. How far down in gold do you think you were? Hopefully, not on your team told you. Oh. But at the peak of that game, roughly how far?
Probably around like 2K max, I think.
Max?
Yeah, 2K.
The whole
max.
game?
Oh, team gold.
Yeah, team gold.
Oh, I thought you meant like 1v1.
Whole game.
You know?
Like what was the whole team gold advantage or disadvantage?
I would assume like 7K.
Yeah, that's good. That was 7K. Did it feel like that game was just going to be almost impossible to win, or was it just supreme confidence still, like knowing what you had to do?
I think our comp was just a little better. Like Vex with less gold than Ahri is like kind of just a one-shot champ. Like you saw it in bot lane. Like he didn't go defensive items. He's a one-shot champion. I'm a one-shot champ. So I hit my spell and he just died in literally one hit. Yeah.
I'm curious, is Vex something where the matchup feels really good for you, or is it more for like picks and team that you want to pick this champion for?
Like personally, I just I like the champion. Feels kind of fun to play, and it like meshes really well with our team and our dynamics. So
I have to say the mid lane meta has been a little. I love mid lane, but it's felt a little slow at times. Right, lots of control pages. Is Vex the champion that you maybe think we should see more of, or is it more like in certain situations for certain players, it's kind of a specialty pick?
I think that. Yeah, like you said, the second part, like it's a specialty pick. You'll see it in some scenarios, but like it kind of gets railed by some champs. So
yeah, makes sense. And then kind of big picture then, of course. This is a great start for you and CLG here in Super Week. Playoffs are in sight, but obviously the best you can do is win. How's the team feeling about playoff chances?
I mean, I think everybody thinks we have a pretty easy weekend. I mean, IMT, TSM, EG, really doable. And yeah, I have faith, so.
And I noticed there's quite a few of you here. Is there a particular reason? I believe this is all of CLG. This might be. You can't see it. Maybe they can, but there's like 20 people in the crowd.
Yeah.
Is this like for Super Week special?
I mean, just bringing out all the support, and yeah, this is all our stuff. I think we have some more people.
Oh.
Yeah, if we wanted to bring everyone, it'd be around 30, you know?
Okay, so I'm curious, is merch in the stands, the person that handles that kind of stuff? Because I need to know how you got the CLG slide.
CLG slide?
That you're wearing.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're discontinued. I'm not sure how to get it. Yeah, they're limited.
They're limited. So that's it.
Yeah.
If you lose, would you have to change shoes or?
If we lose?
Yeah.
No, I'm wearing a t-shirt underneath this, and I've worn it for 5 of our 6 wins, and I'm 100% win rate. Yeah.
I was going to say, like, players have superstitions. Is that one of yours? Are there any others? Or maybe you want to sell out your teammates?
No, I don't know who else has superstitions on our team.
We can get it answered later, I think.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for joining me again. Anything you want to say kind of to the CLG fans as you guys make hopefully one last push to a playoff spot?
You know, just have faith.
All right, Palafox, thank you so much for joining me. Congrats on your win today. Best of luck with the rest of Super Week. We are going to go to a break, but when we come back, it is our last matchup of the day, so don't go too far.
Immortals, 7-game loss streak for them at this point in time. And if they get one more right now, they are officially eliminated from playoffs. Talk about pressure. Palafox is here too. You have to be careful from that. Poome from the opposite side. Contractz bursted so low, he has to be taken out of it. Hextech ultimatum thrown down onto one. Xerxe no longer. There's 2 taken down for Immortals. The pop-up from Luger with the multiple kills in CLG. They win the fight. Guardian Angel to bring him back to it. And a very heavy chunk down if you're looking over towards Immortals too. With Viego. They take down the top laner and the support for CLG and effectively get Xerxe out of the fight. So they're on the Baron right now, baby.